Welcome, Patriots, to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from just outside Chicago, where the truth still matters and the swamp creatures can't hide. We're streaming to millions worldwide on YouTube, plus our freedom fighters on Rumble and X. Make sure you're following us on all platforms because Big Tech doesn't want you seeing what we're about to expose tonight. Now, before we dive into today's explosive revelations, let me remind you what makes us different. We just don't talk at you, we talk with you. Your comments, your reactions, your super chats, and Rumble rants, they are the heartbeat of the show, and we'll be featuring them on screen throughout the broadcast, so fire them off right now and let the world hear your voice. It's week 19 of Donald Trump's triumphant return to the White House, and the establishment is crumbling faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. On June 4th, that's today, it marks a fascinating parallel to history. On this date, in 1989, the Chinese Communist Party revealed their true brutality in Tiananmen Square, crushing freedom under tank treads. 36 years later, we're exposing how the CCP has evolved their tactics from tanks to test tubes, from bullets to biological weapons targeting your dinner table. And speaking of exposing truth, hit those donation links in the description if you want to keep independent media alive. We don't answer to corporate overlords or pharmaceutical advertisers. We answer to you. Whether it's through Give, Send, Go, or PayPal, every dollar helps us fight the information war. Now grab your Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and show the world where you get your real news, from coffee mugs that trigger liberals to t-shirts that speak truth. We've got you covered. And for those ready to level up, our YouTube channel memberships unlock exclusive perks, special chat recognition, behind-the-scenes content, and access to our members-only Discord, where the conversation never stops. Now, the parallels between 1989 and today are chilling. Just as the CP crushed dissent with tanks then, they are crushing our food security with fungus now. Just as they silenced truth with bullets then, they're silencing it with biological weapons now. But here's what they didn't count on. Americans refuse to stay silent. So text this stream to everyone in your contacts right now. Bypass the algorithm and break through the censorship and spread this like wildfire. And for our ex-viewers, repost this to your followers right now. This is how we win the information war, person to person, patriot to patriot. And tonight we're peeling back three massive stories that prove the empire of lies is collapsing. First, Trump's big, beautiful bill has Democrats literally screaming about death while delivering the largest tax cuts in history. Second, we've got Chinese operatives caught smuggling an agroterrorism weapon that could destroy our food supply and poison our families. And third, Biden's own press secretary abandoning ship with a tell-all about the greatest cover-up in White House history, the cover-up that she was a part of. Between each segment, we'll be showcasing your super chats and thoughts for millions to see, and we've even got it right here. We're gonna, oh, there's Mr. Frog, and we're actually gonna be posting your super chats right there in the Alex Jones was right jar. Yeah, a new feature on the show. We've actually got our camera, a new camera functioning, and it's exciting. So this is something we're going to be showcasing this evening. Okay, so this is not just a show, it's a movement, and you are the fuel that powers it. The thread connecting today's stories to that dark day in Tiananmen Square is clear. Tyranny never rests. It just changes tactics. From crushing students with tanks to crushing economies with bioweapons, from silencing journalists with guns to silencing them with gag orders, the playbook remains the same. But so does our response. We stand and we speak and we expose. Remember, every level of membership supports the fight, from basic subscribers who keep us on the air to premium members, shaping our coverage through exclusive access to the Next News team. This is your show, this is your platform, and your voice in the darkness. We're also getting ready to launch a new app just for you. It'll be available on iOS and Android, so that's going to be launching, I believe, next week, so get ready for that. And Patriots, what you're about to see are going to shake you to your core. The rats are fleeing the sinking ship. We've got the footage to prove it. So let's dive in and welcome you to the show. Who's here tonight? We got Karen Finley. She says this is the only place to get the news. Thank you, Karen. And if you guys can't tell, I'm a little congested tonight. I had an IV at 8 o'clock this morning. I took in 2 liters of fluid and vitamin C, glutathione, vitamin B. I mean, I took like everything that they could give me to just get me up to feeling better. And now I feel like I'm coming down with a cold. So that's why you see this on my arm tonight. Don't worry, I'm okay. It's just a cold. And even Todd, our show producer, he's not feeling well. And that's why we've only got 3 topics to cover tonight. We're doing our best here, keeping it together in the midst of our physical ailments. Who else is in the house? We got Sabrina. Derek Martin says, good evening, N3 fam. We got Lori says, hi, everyone from Illinois. Yeah, I know how that feels. Bill's Mafia Sports in the house. We got Wyatt Earp. We got LARPing for Cash, Chinese weather balloons, and bioweapons. We got Linda Snyder. Is this just a music video? No. We're much more than a music video. That is just how we get the show started. Nikki Rev ASMR Plus. Everyone's getting sick. Yeah, I think so. Mrs. Pothead Kenny, feel better. I'm working on that. Boston's in the house. SLM is here. Black and White and Truth. Hello, everyone, coming in from New York. Laughter Talks is in the house. Who else is here? Little Onion says, you're a powerhouse, Gary. Well, thank you so much. CDS will clear you up just right. What's CDS, Nancy Pelosi's liver? What is that? You should be taking probiotics every day, says Laughter Talks. Well, do you remember the interview I did with Jonathan Otto about the red light? That big device. If you haven't seen the interview, it's on our channel. You can watch it in full. I was totally blown away by it. Well, it just arrived today. He sent me one, and I'm going to be testing it out after the show. I'm going to get butt naked. That's right. Down to my birthday suit, and I'm going to sit right in front of that thing and let that red light just soak into my mitochondria, and hopefully that'll clear me up a little bit too. Yeah, don't you love that picture of naked Gary sitting in front of a red light? Yeah, bizarre. Anyway, okay. Jonathan Gartner says, hi from Corrupticut. Who else is in? Oh, we got a super chat. What's up, Wyatt Earp? Let's see what he's got to say in the super chat. New camera looking great. Get the super chats going. Yeah, you know what's great about this camera? It is it's 4K. Yeah, so now you can see me in 4K. So there's $10 for the super chat jar going right into there. Look at that. Now you can see it. Alex Jones was right jar. Isn't this fun? Are we having fun yet, guys? I know we are. We're just getting started. Okay, let's continue to say hello to everybody here. Angie's in the house. That's Naked Gary. Oh, Angie, I love you. Hot Rod Mike, hey, you sexy goat, he says. Glad to see you too, goat. Who's the goat? I'm the goat. Oh, Goat Biscuit. That villain has a head on his shoulders and knows it. See, look at it. See if I move. Wait, is it? Oh, it's not tracking me yet. Hang on. Double tap. There we go. Now it's going to track me, see? So if I move a little bit, it's going to keep me in frame no matter what. See, how cool is that, right? All right. Let's see who else. Whoa, Hot Rod, I'm not Freddie Mercury. And then, we got another super chat. Nice. You guys are already loading up the super chats, so that means I press this button here and find the $10 and drop it in the jar. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Some images need not be thought of, Gary. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. It's just, oh, Goat Biscuit wants me to dance. Yeah, no. You guys know the rules. We got to get to a certain level here before Gary starts dancing. Misu Rat Viewer Rat. What's up, Australia? It's nice. I love it when I see people from all over the world watching the show. The Southwest Desert is here. So do some diff in the house. Oh, let's see. Okay, I know we got to get into the show. Is this just a music video? Hang on. I'm sorry. I went back. Is bad. LMAO. Work it, Gary. Super $10 victory medal survivor. Hey, yeah. Upgrades. Mary, let him do his job. Hi from Pennsylvania, Michael Verostro. Seguin, Texas is in the house. What's up, Barry? What's up, good brother, says Frank. Well, I'm kind of under the weather here, just trying to push through this show tonight. Hello, Gary. Helen here from Chicago suburbs. What's up, Helen? Good to see you here. Yeah, you know the pain we feel here in Illinois. Paul Finch is in the house from Ohio. Karen loves the camera. Yeah, and see, I could even, let's see, I can even zoom in. Let's see how zoom. Let's see, zoom in on my face. Is it going to work? There. I can zoom in right close on my face. Let's see. There we go. That's a little bit better. Wow. Super close up. Super close up of Gary. Okay, I know, right. I'm just having fun. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. RC in the house. Scott Edwards, Zoom. Goat Biscuit, love our country. We deserve free stuff, says LARPing for Cash. Let's get to business. Esther says, just get on with the show. All right, let's just do that. Shall we do that? I think we should. All right, let's start the show. Oh, wait, no, we can't start the show. I've got a trivia question. Yeah, you can tell I'm a little out of it. I'm doing my best, guys. Hit my clean button, Ryan says. Okay, there it is. The clean button. That's what you wanted, Brian? What do you need? So on my stream deck? Okay. Okay, here is the historical trivia question of the day. Which president signed the largest tax cut in American history before Trump's proposed Big Beautiful Bill? Was it A, Ronald Reagan with the Economic Recovery Act of 1981? Was it George W. Bush with the Economic Growth and Tax Relief Act of 2001? Was it John F. Kennedy with the Revenue Act of 1964? Calvin Coolidge, D, with the Revenue Acts of 1924. Remember, you can sound off in the chat room or in the comments with the number of the letter of your answer, or you can simply just answer in the poll. All right, let's get into our first story, and then we're going to get the answer to this trivia question. Clean? Okay. The Democrats just revealed their worst nightmare, and it's wrapped in Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. Chuck Schumer's on camera screaming that we're all going to die if we cut taxes and stop giving free health care to illegals. But that's not even the most shocking part. The numbers are in, and what they show will make every working American's blood boil. While you struggle to pay your bills, 1.4 million illegal immigrants are living off your tax dollars through Medicaid. And now Trump's about to pull the plug, and the establishment is in full meltdown mode. And what you're about to see isn't just politics, it's the masks coming off. So don't look away. Now, here is the hard truth, though. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That means $100,000 savings today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. You see it every time you fill up your tank, you buy groceries or pay bills. Prices are up, dollars down. But there's a simple way to protect your savings with something real, something proven. It's gold, an asset that holds value over time. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments. They make it simple to protect your savings with physical gold or silver. No high-pressure sales, no call centers, just honest guidance and one-on-one support. Transparent pricing as well. And when you open a qualified account, Noble Gold will send you a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. So head to nextnewsgold.com. That's nextnewsgold.com. You'll see it linked down below in the description, or call that number 877-646-5347. And when they pick up the phone, tell them that Gary Franchi sent you, and tell Colin I said hi. Remember, don't just protect your wealth, preserve its power. Now, the battle lines are drawn, and Chuck Schumer just exposed exactly whose side he's on. Watch closely as a Senate Democrat leader admits his real priority isn't helping Americans, it's protecting illegal immigrants on taxpayer-funded health care. Watch.
GOP lawmakers have defended some of their budget bills, Medicaid reforms, by highlighting preliminary CBO projections of roughly 1.4 million illegal immigrants losing their coverage under state-funded health programs. Is reducing federal Medicaid payments to states that provide coverage to undocumented immigrants a reform that you would support?
The bottom line is this overall bill is so awful. If they want to aim, if they got some specific issues, aim it. Don't just do a meat axe or a chainsaw across the board and cut everything. I don't know if their numbers are accurate. These are GOP numbers, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There it is, straight from the horse's mouth. Schumer's more worried about 1.4 million illegals losing Medicaid than the American families paying for it. This is the same man who voted to send billions overseas while your grocery bills doubled. But Schumer's meltdown gets even more unhinged. This next clip shows him literally claiming Americans will die if we pass historic tax cuts and secure our border. Watch his theatrical performance as he waves the big, beautiful bill like it's a death warrant. Watch.
And we all know one thing. Donald Trump is just lying about the bill. Lying about the bill. Well, here's the "We are all going to die" act.
We are all going to die. Remember those words when you vote. This is their closing argument against putting money back in your pocket and stopping the illegal immigrant gravy train. Senator Ron Wyden jumped into the fear-mongering circus with his own brand of deception. He claims the big, beautiful bill is about health care cuts and tax breaks for the ultra-wealthy. Here's the Oregon Democrat spreading lies that even his own colleagues can't defend. Watch.
This morally bankrupt bill boils down to a simple equation. As the leader touched on, health care cuts for Americans walking on an economic tightrope is what this bill is all about, and it's going to be paid for by extra tax breaks for the ultra-wealthy.
Wyden knows he's lying. The bill delivers historic tax cuts for working Americans while protecting Medicare and Social Security. But Democrats can't win on truth, so they weaponize fear. So the establishment media is trying to spin this as a battle between Trump and Elon Musk over spending. CNN's number crunchers want you to believe that Republicans have abandoned fiscal responsibility, but watch what happens when they accidentally reveal the truth about GOP voter priorities. Watch.
Musk, in calling this a disgusting abomination, says it will explode the national debt, says it runs counter to all the work he did trying to cut government spending. What's the reality?
Please just never call me a disgusting abomination, John, please.
Never to your face.
Thank you. Behind me is perfectly fine. I mean, look, you know, President Trump wants to send these DOGE cuts to Congress through the rescission process, and that, get this, would only bring down the national debt by about $9 billion. The big, beautiful bill over 10 years, get this, through the roof in terms of the federal deficits and the debt, up $2 trillion. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that $9 trillion doesn't come anywhere close to $9 billion comes anywhere close to $2 trillion. So all of DOGE's work that they would send, at least a part of it, to Congress gets completely wiped out, wiped off the map by the big, beautiful bill. No wonder Elon Musk is so upset.
So, as I said, he's taking on this bill. He's mostly critical of Congress here. In a battle between Elon Musk and Congress, who wins?
Yeah, who wins between Elon Musk and Congress? Well, look, Elon Musk is a very popular guy amongst Republicans, a plus 63 net favorability rating. Beats Mike Johnson at plus 46, who, of course, is the Speaker. How about John Thune, the Republican leader in the Senate? Only a plus 30. So if Musk is taking on these two gentlemen, it's not a fair fight. Elon Musk is a very popular dude. But he is nowhere close to where Donald Trump is within the Republican ranks. Look at that, a plus 79 net favorability rating. So if Donald Trump decides to turn his fire on Elon Musk, that is a fight that Elon Musk simply put cannot win. If Donald Trump stays out of it, he stands a pretty good chance, Elon Musk does, against Johnson and Thune.
It's interesting because, again, I've said Trump has been quiet so far this morning. I wonder if he'll look at this segment, he's a big Harry Etten fan, and say, you know what?
Many are.
My popularity is a lot greater than Elon Musk right now. Maybe I should weigh in. I'll be interested to see if he stays quiet on Truth Social all day. On the issue itself, Harry, when Elon Musk is criticizing the debt and deficits here, how much do voters really care?
Republican voters. They don't care. They don't care. I mean, look, cut taxes, even if the deficit increases. You know, you go back 33 years ago, it was just 22% who said cut taxes, even if the deficit increases. But the party of fiscal responsibility is no more. Now, 74% of Republicans say cut taxes, even if deficit increases. So if Donald Trump, more popular than Elon Musk, sticks his neck out, the Republican voters will absolutely be with him because they believe cut taxes, even if deficit increases, quite different than the way they were in the early 1990s.
You were no disgusting abomination. You were a glorious miracle every
You
day.
too, my friend.
Thank you, Harriet. Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Sarah.
Did you catch that?
You know, Sanjay Gupta.
Did you catch that? 74% of Republicans now support tax cuts, even if deficits increase, up from just 22% in 1992. Americans have figured out their game. They'd rather keep their own money than fund government waste. And I've also got this just in, it was just published. It's Alina Habba. She's addressing the dust-up between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I'm going to play this for you because I think it needs to be included in this segment. Check this out.
This administration. Thank you. Can you clarify for federal workers who might be confused who to listen to, since Elon Musk's post is different from what OPM sent out? I don't think it's, look, here's the reality of the situation. There's one person we're supposed to be listening to, that's President Trump, and what the American people mandated, which is what we're doing. People need to be accountable. You need to be able to answer the question. If you couldn't answer it yesterday, you have till today. But the reality is accountability is real. I can't not show up to work every day. I have to answer to the president. And by answering to the president, I answer to the American people. It's very simple. Would you want to pay somebody to do a job and they don't show up to work? I don't think so. I could name 5 things, 5 bullets, in about 5 minutes of me coming into the office every day. If you struggle to do that for a week, there's no excuse for that. Now, you can have an extra day to answer it, but you better be able to answer it.
What clarification can you offer workers, though, who are confused?
I'm not sure why you're confused or why it's so hard to answer what 5 things you've done in the past week.
And what do you say to departments that have told their employees you don't have to answer?
Well, I think that there's reasoning behind that. You have to understand some of these departments, obviously, we work with top secret information that perhaps you're not supposed to disclose. There's a lot of complications that I'm not going to get into, but there's no question that every single cabinet member, every single person that was put into this administration wants the American people working, wants people back to work, wants to stop the Zoom calls, and wants to stop people from double dipping and having 2 jobs when taxpayer dollars are paying for you to come to work.
Is the White House investigating any of the Doge resistance, like hacking of the TV?
That's a question for Doge and DOJ.
Are White House staffers included in the ask by Elon Musk? Did you turn in 5 things to President Trump that you did?
I received an email. President Trump knows what I do every single day. So for me to answer that email is incredibly easy. Frankly, the American people see what I do every single day. So it's just such a non-issue. Think about the fact that we're having look at all of you standing here asking me why people are upset to answer to their boss, the American people, and the President of the United States, what you've done at work. What a ridiculous thing. I mean, it's as ridiculous as us having to say that boys can't play in women's sports. The fact that we are wasting American taxpayer dollars to even have to correct this is insane.
People that don't respond. The order to fire people who don't answer.
Well, firing people has been happening. It happens in every job. Is it outrageous to you that we're firing people? I mean, PPO has fired tons of people. Each department has fired tons of people. If you're not on an American first agenda, you're not here. It's very simple.
Will they be fired if they don't, just to be clear, will they be fired if they don't respond?
I think the president spoke on that. I'll refer to his statement. You will be held accountable. You will lose your job if you are not working.
Well, but OPM had said, I believe it was minutes afterwards, or at least it came out afterwards, that a failure to respond was not tantamount to resignation. So
listen, it's like any job. We're going to ask you what you're doing. Each department is in charge. We have to look at what everybody's doing. You want to say that we're just going to go in and do something careless? No, we don't do things carelessly. But we are asking people to show us that you are working.
what's going to happen to the messages? Will a higher up evaluate the message and see whether this person was being effective and constructive that week, or is it just that you must respond to show that you exist?
I think every department will handle it in a coordinated effort, but the mandate is real. You have to show up to work.
Will it take staff time to read them? I mean,
of course it takes people's time to read them. We're not asking them so that we put them in a wastebasket. We're asking because we want to know.
Meanwhile, President Trump isn't just fighting domestic battles, he's already working to prevent World War III. His Truth Social post reveals a 75-minute call with Putin discussing Ukraine, Iran, and nuclear weapons. You can see it on your screen there. Brian, can you make it full screen so I can see it? Yeah. I just finished speaking by telephone with President Putin of Russia. Call lasted an hour and 15 minutes. We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine, also the various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not all conversations that will lead to immediate peace. Putin did say, and very strongly, he will have to respond to the recent attack on the airfields. We also discussed Iran and the fact that time is running out on Iran's decision pertaining to nuclear weapons, which must be made quickly. I stated to Putin that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and on this, I believe we are in agreement. Putin suggested he will participate in discussions with Iran and that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to rapid conclusion. It's my opinion that Iran has been slow-walking their decision on this very important matter, and we will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. So while Democrats scream about imaginary deaths from tax cuts, Trump's preventing actual nuclear catastrophe. That is what real leadership looks like, negotiating peace while delivering prosperity. Small business champion Kelly Loeffler, she laid out exactly why the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill, matters to Main Street America. After 4 years of Biden's crushing failures, or should I say his auto pen, American entrepreneurs need relief. Listen to Trump's small business administrator explain how this bill unleashes economic recovery. Watch.
Absolutely. Thank you, Congresswoman. I appreciated the opportunity to be with you in your great district and visit manufacturers that are really making a difference in America, and look forward to continuing to meet with more small businesses across the committee's constituencies. The Big Beautiful Bill Act is vitally important to Main Street America. It's pro-growth. It's pro-small business, and it's pro-worker. We have never had a bill like this in our country that ensures that small businesses can thrive with a 23% pass-through deduction, immediate expensing. It ensures that we start to cut spending, $1.6 trillion in mandatory spending that drove inflation that small businesses were crushed by under the last administration. It secures the border. Small businesses have been suffering from crime in their communities, needless crime that went unenforced. So this is really a dream bill, and for small businesses, it prevents a nightmare happening that every Democratic member of this committee voted for, to raise taxes on small businesses, trillions of dollars, by 23%. Small businesses could not make it through a 22% tax increase. And so I'm really grateful for the support of this bill, and look forward to continued reductions in spending and taxes.
23% pass-through deduction, immediate expensing, and $1.6 trillion in spending cuts that drove Biden's inflation. This isn't trickle-down theory, it's bottom-up prosperity. And taking another look here at, because we just mentioned what happened, Trump's Truth Social post and the 75-minute call, Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Putin claims Ukraine is no longer just an illegitimate regime, but is now acting as a full-fledged terrorist organization. And he accuses Ukrainian forces of pulling back some fronts while escalating what he calls terror attacks. Check out what Putin just said a few hours ago.
Strike. It was a deliberate strike, and it only confirms our suspicions that the illegitimate regime in Kiev that came to power through a coup is now being reborn as a terrorist organization, and its sponsors become supporters of terrorism. Recently, the Ukrainian government and their allies dreamt of inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. Now they're withdrawing from the battle zone, fleeing, and now the Kiev regime is trying to resort to terrorist attacks. At the same time, they're asking for a ceasefire. They're asking for top-level meetings. But how can we organize such meetings? Something like this is happening. What is there to talk about? How can we negotiate with those who are resorting to terrorism? And why should we reward them with a cessation in hostilities, allowing them to receive additional weapons, to continue their mobilization and to prepare for more terrorist attacks like those in the Bryansk and Kursk regions? It was a deliberate strike, and it only...
So now Vladimir Putin is calling Ukraine a terrorist nation. So keep that in the back of your mind as these negotiations continue. Moving back to the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, he proved what happens when you put competent people in charge. Newark's runway reopened 13 days ahead of schedule because his team worked around the clock. Here's what accountability looks like in the Trump administration. Watch.
In Newark, one of the problems, in addition to air traffic control, was that one of the runways was down for repair. It's back up and sooner than expected. How'd you do that?
So 13 days sooner than expected. The Port Authority worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get it online faster than we anticipated. That was one of the issues that we're having in Newark. But on top of that, you've reported this. We were short on controllers in the Philly TRACON that controls the Newark airspace. We only had 22 controllers. 6 were out on leave. We have 22 controllers now in training, so they'll get certified on a rolling basis. And as they're certified, we can expand the capacity of Newark as well. Also, we had a telecom issue that caused the communication issues. We had 2 of those, one in late April, then one in early May. Verizon did a fantastic job. They laid a brand new fiber cable between Philly and New York, which was a problem line. And we're testing that now, and that should be stood up probably the end of June, early July.
One of the things...
Listen, Dana, we're working really fast. It's amazing when everyone cares and engages together, and business CEOs help us out, how fast things can happen.
It's amazing when everyone cares and it engages together. Duffy just described the difference between Trump's team and Biden's disasters. Results, not excuses. House Budget Chairman Jason Smith dropped the hammer on Fox, revealing the big, beautiful bill's true scope. This isn't just tax relief. It's the largest mandatory spending cut in American history, including $500 billion stripped from the Green New Scam. Watch.
The big, beautiful bill delivers on President Trump's priorities. It delivers the largest tax cut in the history of America, including what the president campaigned on: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax relief for seniors. It also produces the largest mandatory cut in U.S. history, which included more than $500 billion of the Green New tax scam, including $200 billion roughly of the EV tax credits. This bill also provides the most significant welfare reforms in U.S. history. It is the quickest, best approach on delivering on all of President Trump's priorities that he promised 77 million people. It's a very, very good bill.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax relief for seniors, plus gutting $200 billion in EV subsidies. Every promise Trump made on the campaign trail delivered in one big, beautiful bill. And then we have this. Remember McDonald's hash browns? Yeah, they used to be $2 for $1, and now they are $4.15. You know you love them. You know you do. And maybe we'll see those. We'll see the price of those come down. But OMB Director Russ Vought, he destroyed the Congressional Budget Office's fake numbers about the bill's impact. The same people who said Biden's inflation was transitory now claim tax cuts will increase the deficit. Watch as he exposes their lives with actual math.
At what point in time will we see a plan and a strategy for which we really go after and fix the largest share of the federal spending that is the crux of the national deficit that we have today.
You know, we believe that we're doing that with this bill that you have passed out of the House. And one of the reasons we're so excited about it is that for the first time since 1990s, we are talking about trillions of dollars with regard to mandatory savers. $1.7 trillion now is an enormous opportunity and first step along the lines of what you're talking about and what we've proposed in budgets before. So I think it's, you know, for those that are saying, where are the DOGE cuts? That's not a reconciliation thing. For those that are saying, where are the mandatory reforms? That is in that bill. And we believe it's the first major conversation like this we've had since the 1990s. We will have more proposals as we go forward. You know, the president wants to have a balanced budget. 3 out of our 4 budgets in the first term were aimed at budget, had that as a goal, and we had large mandatory savers in those budgets that were consistent with the president's promises to protect Social Security and Medicare, and we will continue to have reforms along those lines.
Thank you very much.
For the first time since the 1990s, we're talking trillions in mandatory savings. The DOGE cuts come later. This is just the opening salvo in Trump's war on waste. Now, the CBO's projection is pure fiction, and Vought proved it. Their models ignore economic growth and assume Americans are too stupid to understand basic math. Here's the Trump budget chief setting the record straight. Watch.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you believe that the CBO's estimate of President Trump's one big, beautiful bill accurately represents the benefits that it will provide to the American people and the fiscal course correction that it will provide our nation?
No, I think it's fundamentally wrong. I stated that today. It will lead to reduced deficits and debt of $1.4 trillion. It will reduce mandatory savings of $1.7 trillion. And I don't think the way they construct their baseline, not only does it give a fair shake to economic growth, but it fundamentally misreads the economic consequences of not extending current law tax relief. I mean, the degree to which we would have a recession or worse if the tax relief is not extended is something that they just fundamentally do not factor into their analysis.
Thank you for that clarification.
The CBO refuses to factor in what happens without tax relief. Economic catastrophe. They're cooking the books to protect the swamp, but Vought's brought the receipts. And finally, Vought laid out the stakes if the establishment blocks the bill. No sugarcoating, no political spin, just cold hard truth about what happens if the swamp wins this fight. Watch.
If H.R. 1 fails, if whatever comes back from the Senate fails to get to the desk of the president and signed into law, what happens at the end of this year?
I think we'll have a recession. I think we will be, economic storm clouds will be very dark. I think we'll have a 60% tax increase on the American people. And just to, if I could answer Congressman Hoyer's question or statement, the notion that this bill, I mean, we've been actually criticized unfairly for on the reconciliation bill for the fact that it is all mandatory savers. I mean, you said, look, we need to address the mandatory side of the House. There's $1.7 trillion in mandatory savers on the reconciliation bill. Do we need to do things on the appropriation side, the discretionary side? Yes, that's what we're here to talk about with rescissions and the bill that the budget that we've sent up to you. But we have to get back to what we did in 1997, where we had for the first time substantial mandatory reforms around not just cutting people and just getting people off programs, but reforms, a work requirement. We're using the same model that Bill Clinton signed into law, and we think it will have incredible impact on not just these programs, but giving people dignity of work. And we're not going to be ashamed by that, but we do need to explain ourselves to those that are being impacted by the watchdogs in this town that honestly don't have an incentive to get a bill done. They have chosen how they want to frame bills, and I think they're inaccurate.
Recession. 60% tax increases, and economic darkness. That's the Democrats' plan for America if they stop the big, beautiful bill. But here's the beautiful part. They can't stop what's coming. And Senator Mullen, he just slammed the biased CBO over their wildly inaccurate predictions on the 2017 Trump tax cuts and explains how the one big, beautiful bill will bring back manufacturing and slash spending. Watch.
A crap show from we inherited a crap show from the Biden administration. They had literally doubled almost every agency's budget in the last 4 years. We're in debt. We can't just simply stop spending that debt and expect that we're going to pay it off all at the same time. We have to borrow the money to get us over the hump to let Biden's policies fade out and Trump's policies increase. We know for sure that when we make tax cuts permanent, when we did this in 2017, CBO said we was going to have a $1.5 trillion deficit. And actually what happened is the economy increased by $1.7 trillion is what we ended up bringing into the Treasury. So we have to borrow to get us past this point. Immediately, those two lines will start closing as we start seeing Trump's policies continue to go into effect. We see the economy come roaring back. We see the manufacturing come back. Right. We see jobs increase. We see wages come home increase. We will start seeing the spending go down because, by the way, this is just the first cut at deficit spending, which we're cutting $1.5 trillion in deficit spending, where we inherited a crap show.
So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This isn't about Republican versus Democrat anymore. It's about Americans versus the parasites who are bleeding us dry. Chuck Schumer just told you exactly where his loyalty lies, with 1.4 million illegals sucking up your tax dollars through Medicaid while you can't afford your own prescriptions. The big, beautiful bill exposes the ultimate choice: prosperity for citizens or handouts for criminals. Trump's delivering the largest tax cut in history while Democrats literally scream that we'll die without massive government spending. They're terrified because their power depends on your poverty. Once Americans taste real economic freedom, keeping their tips, their overtime, their hard-earned money, the Democrat plantation collapses forever. So here's my question for you, and you can answer in the comments. Should illegal immigrants get even $1 of taxpayer-funded health care while American veterans sleep on our streets? A simple yes or no in the comments is all I need. And show where you stand with Next News gear by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. The link is in the description below. Okay, so you guys all said A, Ronald Reagan is the answer to our trivia question. Brian, let's find out what the answer is. A is correct. Oh, good. I'm so happy you guys got that right. You guys were having a rough night last night, but today you make me proud. A, Ronald Reagan with the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981, cutting rates 25% across the board and spurring the 1980s boom. Oh, I love the 80s, right? Oh, take me back in my time machine. All right, here is our next question of the evening. Which Cold War incident involving the Soviet Union used biological weapons to destroy Afghanistan's agriculture? Was it A, Operation Storm 333 in 1979, B, the Yellow Rain attacks of 1981 to 1982, the Glanders outbreak, C, of 1982, or was it D, Project Bonfire in 1985? Oh, I want to see if you guys get this one. This is going to be interesting. We're going to have the answer for you, excuse me, after this segment. Let's move right along. They came through our airports carrying death in their luggage. 2 Chinese nationals just got caught red-handed smuggling a weapon designed to starve America into submission. This is not some spy movie plot. It's happening right now, and it's happening in Michigan. And the fungus that they brought can destroy wheat, poison our corn, and cause liver failure in humans. But here's what should terrify you the most. One of them is a confirmed Communist Party loyalist funded by Beijing, and she was working inside an American university lab. Okay? Think about that for a second. Donald Trump is going after Harvard because of their alignment with China. And we're seeing something even worse in Michigan. Now, the FBI calls it agroterrorism. China, they just call it Tuesday. Now, what you're about to see proves the next war won't be fought with missiles. It'll be fought right at your dinner table. So stay with me. And when enemies target our food supply, protecting your health becomes critical.
Two Chinese nationals are.
That's why collagen supplementation matters now more than ever. By age 40, your body's collagen production drops significantly, weakening your immune defenses and cellular integrity. Ageless Multi-Collagen delivers 5 essential collagen types from 4 premium sources, fortifying your body's natural barriers against toxins and pathogens. While foreign threats target our agriculture, you can strengthen your body's resilience. This isn't just about looking younger, it's about building robust health when our food security faces unprecedented attacks. Visit healthwithgary.com for 51% off and arm your body with the protection that it needs. Now, the Chinese Communist Party just got caught executing a biological attack on American soil. ABC News barely touched the story, giving it less than a minute of coverage. Watch how they downplay what experts call a potential weapon of mass destruction targeting our food supply. Watch.
Two Chinese nationals are accused of smuggling a dangerous fungus into the U.S. that experts say could be a potential terror weapon targeting agriculture. This is a microscopic view of that fungus known to cause billions of dollars in damage to crops, including wheat, barley, and rice worldwide every year. If consumed by humans, it can cause liver damage and birth defects. One of the suspects allegedly caught with the fungus hidden in his luggage at the Detroit airport. The DOJ claims he lied, saying that he was just there to visit his girlfriend, a Chinese visiting research fellow at the University of Michigan, but later confessed to having it. We'll stay on this.
Potential terror weapon. That's how ABC buried the lead on China trying to starve your family. Now, the fungus doesn't just damage crops, it produces toxins that cause liver failure and birth defects in humans. Good Morning America gave it slightly more coverage, but watch how they frame this as just another customs violation instead of the act of war that it really is. Now, pay attention how they casually mention the suspect lied to federal agents. Watch.
Michael, good morning. We're talking about a fungus which DOJ is calling a potential bioterror threat. Take a look at it under the microscope. This is Fusarium graminearum, and it causes billions of dollars in crop damage each year. A pathogen that rots wheat, barley, and rice, and if consumed by humans can cause vomiting, liver damage, and birth defects. This morning, 2 researchers from China are accused of trying to smuggle it into the U.S. to take it to a lab at the University of Michigan. Authorities claim that in July of last year, they allegedly caught a scientist from China with the fungus hidden in a wad of tissues in his backpack at the Detroit airport. Authorities say the scientist initially lied, claiming he was coming to America to visit his girlfriend and that he had no idea how the material got into his luggage. But later he allegedly admitted he smuggled the fungus into the U.S. to conduct research on it with his girlfriend, who was a visiting fellow at the University of Michigan, Michael.
Well, Pierre, had the University of Michigan responded to any of this?
Well, they're telling us that they're cooperating with the investigation and they condemned any activity that could harm the public or damage national security, Michael.
All right, Pierre, as always, thank you.
So he claimed he was visiting his girlfriend, but he was actually smuggling biological weapons. His girlfriend, a Chinese national embedded at the University of Michigan, funded by Beijing to conduct research on American soil. CNN actually used the phrase agroterrorism weapon, but then immediately softened their coverage. FBI Director Kash Patel had to spell out what their reporters wouldn't. This is the CCP targeting our food supply. Now watch this watered-down coverage that still can't hide the terrifying truth. Watch.
Breaking overnight, 2 Chinese researchers have been charged with smuggling a biological pathogen into the United States that they planned to study at the University of Michigan. According to the complaint filed yesterday, the 2 brought a fungus described as a, quote, potential agroterrorism weapon that can cause disease in plants like corn, rice, and barley. According to the FBI, the pathogen is responsible for billions of dollars in economic damage worldwide every year. FBI Director Kash Patel said in a post on X that the case is a sobering reminder that the CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party, is working around the clock to deploy operatives and researchers to infiltrate American institutions and target our food supply, which would have grave consequences. The affidavit doesn't specify what their intentions were in studying the fungus. The University of Michigan said in a statement Tuesday they strongly condemn any actions that seek to cause harm, threaten national security, or undermine the university's critical public mission. John?
The FBI director himself confirmed the Chinese Communist Party is working around the clock to infiltrate our institutions. This isn't paranoia, it's documented biological warfare. Former NFL quarterback Will Cain connected the dots mainstream media won't touch, from agroterrorism to farmland purchases near military bases to visa overstays. China's conducting a multi-front invasion. Here's Cain laying out the terrifying big picture. Watch.
Agroterrorism, that's not a term that you hear every day. You've probably heard of biological warfare. You've probably read, seen movies, or heard accusations about nation states attacking other countries' ability to grow their own food. Agroterrorism refers to the deliberate use of an animal or plant disease to damage a country's food production or their supply. Now, all new this hour, the Justice Department announcing charges against 2 Chinese nationals for allegedly smuggling a dangerous biological pathogen into the U.S. According to the DOJ, the trafficked fungus in question has been described as a potential agroterrorism weapon, which it says the 2 suspects intended to use at the University of Michigan laboratory to further their scheme. That sounds like something out of HBO's The Last of Us, but this is how this fungus is described. It causes head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. Toxins, though, don't just affect plants. They cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. What a wild story. Again, something right out of fiction, something right out of The Last of Us. But maybe we shouldn't be surprised. The DOJ says one of those Chinese nationals is a loyal member of the CCP. And we know the Communist Party is interested in getting inside our country. Take a look at this map. It shows how much farmland, you've probably heard something about this, but I don't know if you've ever seen it visualized, how much farmland has been bought in the United States and conveniently located around U.S. military installations. It's a fascinating and stark image of a potential threat to this country. All of this, of course, follows Sunday's terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, which was already sparking fears of terror here at home.
It's coming. 2 million people paid more to get away. They didn't want to be vetted. They didn't want to be fingerprinted. Why? This scares the hell out of me. I've been doing this for 40 years. It should have scared the hell out of every American what the Biden administration did. This 2 million known gotaways scares the hell out of me. So I'm convinced something's coming unless we can find them.
But it's not just the gotaways. Through the numbers, we see that also we should be worried about visa overstays. This is the number of people who have overstayed their visa, effective illegal immigrants who came into the country legally. It's between 650,000 and 850,000 annually from 2016 through 2022. In 2017, 5 million people, about 42% of illegal immigrants living in the United States, entered legally but overstayed their visa. And just as a reminder, at least 3 of the 19 hijackers on September 11th, 2001 were visa overstays. Now, here's how it shakes out per country. We can tie these 2 stories together. When I first saw this chart, the first thing that stuck out to me is the number of Venezuelan visa overstays. That's a shocking number that we see playing out, not just criminally, but across our country when it comes to the workforce, in our cities, in our towns. A stunning number coming from Venezuela. But look down that chart. Look at number 4. Just shy of 32,000 Chinese visa overstays in this country illegally. You can see the other countries there as well. Now, we face a threat of terrorism on all fronts, and we don't want to be alarmist here. But it, I think, requires us to stick our head in the sand to not see how all of these things are tied together as potential vulnerabilities, from agroterrorism to visa overstays. What is the threat level here at home domestically in the United States?
32,000 Chinese visa overstays currently in America. Remember, the 9/11 hijackers were also visa overstays too. Now add biological weapons into the mix. Fox News revealed the most chilling detail. One suspect is a confirmed loyal member of the Chinese Communist Party receiving government funding. This isn't some rogue operation. This is state-sponsored biological warfare. Now listen how they describe the gravity of this threat. Watch.
2 Chinese nationals have been charged with smuggling a dangerous biological pathogen into the United States. And this pathogen is considered a serious threat to our food supply and thus our national security. Fox's David Spunt is here with all the details. David, this is terrifying.
Laura, it really is quite an interesting story. According to the Justice Department, one of them worked at a laboratory connected to the University of Michigan. The FBI arrested 33-year-old Yuqing Zhan for allegedly smuggling in a fungus called Fusarium graminearum, which could be used as an agroterrorism weapon. The gases from the fungus could cause liver damage, vomiting, and reproductive defects in humans and livestock. DOJ officials say Zhan has direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party, and she works at the University of Michigan, and her boyfriend is connected to a university back in China. FBI Director Kash Patel, in an exclusive statement to Fox Digital, says this case is a sobering reminder that the Chinese Communist Party continues to deploy operatives and researchers to infiltrate our institutions and target our food supply, an act that could cripple our economy and endanger American lives. Smuggling a known agroterrorism agent into the U.S. is not just a violation of law, it's a direct threat to national security. I commend the FBI Detroit Division and our partners at CPB for stopping this biological threat before it could do real damage. Now, senior DOJ leaders, Laura, are debating whether to bring back the so-called China Initiative, a controversial program during the Bill Barr Justice Department that aimed to stop Chinese espionage that began in American universities. The DOJ under Merrick Garland got rid of the name after groups came forward and complained it was insensitive, but I'm told the current Attorney General Pam Bondi and her team want to focus on China, though it's unclear if they'll bring the China Initiative name back.
Gravest national security concerns. That's government speak for we're under attack. The fungus causes billions in crop damage globally and would cripple our economy if released. Here is a picture of the alleged individual. Take a look at this photograph. I've got it here on the screen. I think I did. Here, Brian, 1 second. Bring that up. Pull. Here it is. My bad. Is it shown? I'm on the stream deck here. I'm pressing the button. Try that. There it is. This is the photograph from the New York Post. Yeah. There she is, and there is the fungus. Okay, so let's talk about Fusarium graminearum and what it actually does. This isn't theoretical. This is what would happen to America's breadbasket if these weapons were deployed. You can bring up that tweet now, Brian, full screen. I can read it. Chinese nationals charged in smuggling agroterrorism weapon into the United States. And let's see, here it is. And these 2 aliens have been charged with smuggling a fungus that has been described as a potential agroterrorism weapon into the heartland of America, where they apparently intended to use the University of Michigan laboratory to further their scheme. So the pathogen causes head blight in wheat, barley, corn, and rice. Those aren't random crops. They are the foundation of the American food supply. Every loaf of bread, every beer, every bowl of cereal, every grain-fed piece of meat, all vulnerable to this weapon. Now, the toxins produced don't just kill plants. When consumed by humans or livestock, they cause immediate vomiting, permanent liver damage, and reproductive defects that can span generations. This is genetic warfare designed to poison our children's children. FBI Director Kash Patel's statement cuts through the diplomatic doublespeak. He said the CCP continues to deploy operatives and researchers to infiltrate our institutions and target our food supply, an act that could cripple our economy and endanger American lives. So think about the timing. As Trump prepares to confront China on trade, as America rebuilds its manufacturing base, as we decouple from Beijing's supply chains, suddenly Chinese operatives are caught with biological weapons targeting our agricultural independence. The University of Michigan's response is pathetic. They strongly condemn any actions that seek to cause harm. That's like saying you strongly condemn bank robbery while hosting the robbers into your vault. How many more Chinese researchers are embedded in American universities right now? Think Harvard, right? Yeah, it connects directly to the massive Chinese land purchases near U.S. military installations. They're not just buying farms, they're positioning biological warfare assets next to our food production and defense infrastructure. It's infiltration designed and disguised as investment. Now, the suspect claimed ignorance, saying that he didn't know how the fungus got into the luggage. Then he confessed he smuggled it in to conduct research with his CCP-funded girlfriend. This is how biological warfare begins, not with mushroom clouds, but with microscopic slides. Former Attorney General Bill Barr warned about this exact scenario with his China initiative, a program that Biden's DOJ killed for being insensitive. Now we're catching biological weapons at our borders while, Democrats worry about hurt feelings. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. Here we go. This is Pearl Harbor in a petri dish. While you're watching football and grilling burgers, the Chinese Communist Party is weaponizing fungus to destroy those burgers at the source. They're not targeting our missiles or our cities. They're targeting our wheat fields and corn crops because they know hungry people don't fight back. One CCP agent with a vial could trigger famine that makes the Great Depression look like a picnic. And the bioweapon? Where was it heading? The University of Michigan, your tax dollars funding China's agricultural warfare program. Every university taking Chinese money, such as Harvard as well. Every farm sold to Beijing, every visa overstay ignored. It's all part of the same attack. So here is your wake-up call. And I want to get your thoughts on this in the comments. Should we immediately ban all Chinese nationals from American agricultural research? Sound off, yes or no, below. And prepare your family. Grab your Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, let's see what you guys had to, let's see what your answer was. You guys said the yellow rain attacks of 1981 and 1982. You said B. So were they correct? Let's find out. Yes! Hey, look at, hey, the camera moving with me. Hey. All right. Okay. Having some fun there. All right, yes, it was the yellow rain attacks, B, of 1981 and 1982. The Soviet forces used mycotoxins to destroy crops and poison populations across Southeast Asia. All right, well done. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. You guys make me so proud. I'm like a proud pop over here. You guys are 2 for 2 tonight. Love it. All right. Let's move on to our next question of the evening. Which White House press secretary was forced to resign after being caught in lies about a major scandal? Was it A, Ron Ziegler during Watergate in 1974, B, Scott McClellan during the Plame affair in 2006, was it C, Jay Carney during Benghazi in 2014, or was it D, Sean Spicer during the inauguration controversy in 2017? You can leave your answer in the poll or in the chat room or in the comments. Now, let's rip apart Karine Jean-Pierre, shall we? She looked America in the eye every single day and lied. Now Biden's former press secretary is running for cover, abandoning the Democrat Party and writing a tell-all book to cash in on her deception. Karine Jean-Pierre spent years gaslighting you about Biden's mental fitness, calling video evidence cheap fakes, while the president couldn't find his way off a stage. But something just spooked her so badly that she is fleeing the party entirely. Is it the AutoPen scandal? The coming investigations? Or does she know something about Biden's condition that's about to explode? What you're about to witness is a rat deserting a sinking ship, and she's taking the secrets with her. Keep watching. This one's going to be good. And while press secretaries lie and politicians flee accountability, your children need truth more than ever. That's why thousands of parents, including me, trust the Tuttle Twins magazine, delivering real economics, authentic history, and genuine American values straight to your home. Each monthly issue teaches kids about liberty, responsibility, and free markets through engaging comics, and activities that make learning fun. No woke ideology, no government propaganda, just the principles that built this republic. Remember, freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. The battle for your child's mind is happening right now, and you can subscribe today for just $56 a year. Yeah, think about that. Just $56 a year. And go to TuttleTwins.com/next. It's linked down below. Don't let your family get indoctrinated. And this makes a perfect gift. Imagine just buying it, for your children or your grandchildren. Don't tell them. Just buy it and let it just show up in their mailbox every month. I think they'll really love that. Okay, let's get into Karine Jean-Pierre. So the woman who stood at the podium for nearly 3 years defending Joe Biden's mental fitness just committed the ultimate betrayal. Watch Karine Jean-Pierre in July swearing there was no cover-up of Biden's cognitive decline right before the president was forced to drop out of the race. Watch.
It would seem that people in this White House knew that President Biden was slipping, and it was hidden from the American people. So who ordered White House officials to cover up a declining president?
I know that that is a narrative that you love. And
No,
wait,
10 days.
hold on.
He did a press conference at NATO. I'm in it. There's all these things that I need to finish. And then 10 days later, I'm dropping out.
Okay, wait, you're asking me like multiple questions here. Wait. First of all, there's been no cover-up. I want to be very clear about that. I know that's the narrative that you all want. Wait, no, you can't. Okay.
I've been with President Biden for 5 years.
Are you going to let me answer the question?
Would you at least admit that the debate was not just a bad night?
Wait, can I answer the question?
Yes.
All right. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. To your first question, it is not a cover-up. I know that is the narrative that you all want. It is not. I'm going to say this again, and you're going to hear directly from the president. I hope you listen tonight. I think it's going to be incredibly powerful and important. The Oval Office, presidents, as you know, when they make speeches from the Oval Office, it's because there are important moments that they want to directly make sure that the American people hear from them. And it's obviously going to be done in prime time. I would listen to the president. And then what I will say is that it is not easy making a decision that the president made on Sunday.
There's been no cover-up. Those words should haunt her for the rest of her life. 10 days after this denial, Biden was pushed out by his own party, proving she knew the truth and lied anyway. Now watch this shocking revelation. KJP wasn't just leaving her White House job, she's abandoning the entire Democrat Party to write a tell-all book. The same woman who attacked anyone questioning Biden's fitness is now coming out as an independent. Watch.
Personally, I think what was the toughest thing to see in the 3 weeks was there was a disconnect for me. What was happening with leadership in the Democratic Party and how it was truly, as my former colleague, communications director Ben LeBolt said, it was a firing squad. And I had never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a party do that in the way that they did. And it was hurtful and sad to see that happening. A firing squad around a person who I believe was a true patriot, a person who I believe did everything that he can for this country, a person who I believe, as I mentioned before, has done more in one term than most presidents had done in 2 terms, historical things. And I was shocked by what I was seeing.
And Karine, just to clarify, these are other Democrats and Democratic leadership coming out against Biden.
Yep, I had never seen anything like that. That was, if you're asking me, the thing that I saw in those 3 weeks, that was shocking. Shocking. And instead of coming together to really be unified and trying to figure out how do we save our democracy, how do we fight back, that's what I was seeing. And, that's what we decided to do for 3 weeks. And, it was truly, truly unfortunate. And I think it hurt us more than I think folks realized to have done that.
And I know we're coming, and thank you so much for your question.
Thank you so much for your question.
I know we're coming up on.
She called it a firing squad when Democrats turned on Biden, and now she's pulling the trigger herself with a book deal trying to profit from the lies she helped spread. Yeah, just like Turd Tapper over at CNN. Listen to KJP's pathetic book announcement where she pretends to be some kind of noble truth teller. This is the same person who gaslit America daily about Biden's deteriorating condition. Now watch as she attempts to rebrand herself as an independent while cashing in on her deception. Watch.
Hi, I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, and I am the author of a new book that's coming out this fall called Independent. It's coming out on October 21st, so please do grab it. And the reason I wrote this book, coming out of the White House, serving as White House press secretary was an honor and a privilege. But since I have left, the people that come up to me, strangers that come up to me just across the country as I'm traveling, and sometimes right in my neighborhood, at a grocery store, supermarket, airport, my daughter's school, the number one question they ask me is, Karine, how do we get out of this? How do we protect our democracy? How do we protect vulnerable communities among us? What do we do next? Because we don't have answers here. That's what they ask me. And this is my answer. And what I mean by that is, in an era of misinformation, disinformation, the regressiveness of social policy, what we're seeing currently right now, what I have decided to do, and I really have thought long and hard about this, is to follow my own compass. And that's what I've done. And that's what this book does. And here's the truth. And here's how I will lay it out to you. I think we need to stop thinking in boxes and think outside of our boxes and not be so partisan. And the way that I see moving forward in this space that we're in right now is, if you are willing to stand side by side with me, regardless of your how you identify politically, and as long as you respect the community that I belong to and vulnerable communities that I respect, I will be there with you. I will move forward with you. And that is, I think, so important. So this book, Independent, it's about looking outside of boxes, not just always being in a partisan stance. And how do we move forward together in a compassionate way, in a way that really, truly cares about people? October 21st.
Follow my own compass. That's rich coming from someone whose compass pointed straight to deception for 4 years. She's not independent. She's an opportunist fleeing accountability. CNN's Scott Jennings absolutely destroyed her with the truth every American knows. This isn't just about bad job performance. This is about the systematic deception of an entire nation. Listen to Jennings call her exactly what she is. Watch.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend, and she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
So I will say,
the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held the job. Jennings said what we're all thinking. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she defiled it daily. Republican Congresswoman Julia Letlow connected KJP's sudden departure to the brewing auto pen scandal. Biden's been using a machine for his official documents while potentially incapacitated. Here she is exposing why KJP might really be running. Watch.
Wow, what a turnabout. Yes, that is an incredible narrative that she has played. I think we were all fed a lie. I think the media perpetuated that, including her, and she should be held responsible for the lie that they spread to the American people. But yeah, the headlines now to read that today, quite remarkable.
Well, you might have heard Brian, Glenn, and I talking off the top of the program. It made us speculate, look, this whole auto pen scandal that James Comer will be on here in a few minutes to discuss with me as well, the whole auto pen scandal makes you wonder if she just wants to be away from it. She doesn't want to answer questions about Joe Biden's cognitive ability, his ability to do the job. Was he actually mentally present when all of these things were happening? If I were in her position, I'd want to be as far away from that as possible as well. Could that be what's happening here? Or is she just jumping ship because the Democrats are trying to sell things that the American people are not buying?
I think both theories could be true, but I do know this. The American people, especially in Louisiana, want answers. If there was an auto pen being used, they absolutely deserve those answers. And so it's our job to make sure that we get to the bottom of it, whatever happened.
The auto pen scandal reveals Biden not have been mentally present for major decisions. KJP knows what's coming and wants distance before investigators start asking her questions under oath. And Steve Gruber, I love this guy, perfectly captured the mass exodus from Biden's sinking ship. Every rat is swimming for shore, and KJP just grabbed the biggest life raft, a book deal to monetize her lies. Watch.
So Karine Jean-Pierre has left the Democrat Party? Are you shitting me? What? Joe Biden's press secretary, the one that stood up there and said, oh, Joe's fine. Man, he's working hard. He's got it all together up here. Karine Jean-Pierre just left the Democrat Party. She's an independent now. Are you shitting me? All the rats are running from the ship. Every single one. If Karine Jean-Pierre can't stay with the Democrats, who can? There's a reason everybody's leaving the Democrats. The Democrats, it's a sinking ship. Blue, 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 blue.
If Karine Jean-Pierre can't stay with the Democrats, who can? That's the question terrifying the party. Their own propaganda minister just defected. The timing is no coincidence. As James Comer investigates the auto pen scandal, as questions mount about who's really running the country, KJP suddenly discovers her independence. Watch now as Brian Glenn connects the dots between her departure and the heat that's about to come down from the Oversight Committee. Watch.
Brian, I know you've been speculating because something else came up today that you and I were talking about just a short time ago, and that is the revelation that Karine Jean-Pierre, the woman that stood out there for 2 years, 8 months, and a few days defending Joe Biden's ability to do the job. Oh, he's sharp as a tack. He could do one-handed push-ups. He could do backflips at lunch and remember everything. Now she is no longer a Democrat, Brian, and it makes us wonder, why is she getting so far from the Democrat Party? What do you think?
I don't know. Good afternoon, Steve. Maybe she feels some heat coming from the Oversight Chairman, Congressman Jamie Comer, and as far as who knew what, who knew when, and what were they doing. And more importantly, you can compare some of the dates on these executive orders and these pardonings. Was Joe Biden in the White House when this was going on? What did he know? Did he even know he was signing some of these executive orders and some of these pardons, but my goodness, Steve, as this story develops, this is going to be fun to watch. Grab the popcorn, because I think you'll have a few people that are willing to talk. But it's very interesting that KJP, I never seem to get that straight.
That's okay.
What does she know? And what does she want to say?
What does she know? Did she see the president? Not see the president? We use the word unprecedented in this town a lot. This truly is. I have never seen a press secretary come out a few weeks later and say, yeah, I'm not really part of that party anymore.
She knows investigators will ask, was Biden present? Who made decisions? What did you know? Instead of answering under oath, she's writing a book with her version of events. So think about what we witness. For years, KJP stood at the podium calling accurate videos of Biden's decline cheap fakes. She accused reporters of pushing false narratives while the president struggled to complete sentences. She labeled anyone questioning Biden's fitness as conspiracy theorists. Now she wants sympathy because Democrats created a firing squad around Biden. She was the one loading the bullets with every lie she told. She was the executioner of truth, assassinating facts daily to protect a mentally declining president. Her book pitch reveals the scam. How do we protect our democracy? She spent 3 years undermining democracy by hiding the president's condition from voters. How do we protect vulnerable communities? She made every American vulnerable by covering up a commander-in-chief's cognitive collapse. Remember, the press secretary role isn't just about presenting facts. It's about preserving trust between the government and the people. And KJP didn't just break that trust, she shattered it into a million pieces and now wants to sell you the fragments in hardcover. Her claim of being shocked by Democrats turning on Biden is laughable. She knew his condition better than anyone. She saw him struggle daily. She crafted lies to cover his decline, and now she's shocked the party eventually acknowledged reality. This is not independence, it's cowardice. Real independence would have been telling the truth when it mattered. Real courage would have been resigning rather than lying. Instead, she chose deception for a paycheck and now wants another payday for her confession. The mainstream media will interview her, review her book, treat her like some brave truth teller, and they'll memory hole 3 years of lies because she's useful again. This time as a weapon against Biden rather than a shield. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, Karine Jean-Pierre represents everything wrong in Washington, a professional liar who sold her soul for a White House parking pass. She gaslit America about Biden's mental collapse, called concerned citizens conspiracy theorists, and labeled authentic videos as cheap fakes, while the leader of the free world couldn't find his way off a stage. Now she wants to profit from her participation in the greatest fraud ever perpetrated on the American people. Her sudden independence isn't principled, it's calculated. She sees investigations coming, subpoenas brewing, and criminal referrals possible for everyone who participated in the Biden cover-up. So she's cutting a deal, a book deal, to get her story out before prosecutors come knocking. So here's the question for you, and drop a yes or no in the comments. Should everyone involved in covering up Biden's mental decline face criminal charges? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments below. And arm yourself with truth at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It is linked down below. Okay, so let's get to the answer from our trivia question. You guys said D, Sean Spicer. Oh, wow. Okay, so what is the answer? No, you guys got it wrong. Man, you guys were on a roll tonight. You guys were on a roll, man. It was actually A, Ron Ziegler during the Watergate crisis in 1974, Nixon's press secretary, who famously called Watergate a third-rate burglary before the cover-up collapsed. Okay, Brian, are we able to bring in some of our friends? Okay, let's see who's with us right now. All right, hey, what's up?
What's going on, Gary?
What's up? Right on, right on. So there he is. There he is. Shane Bouvet. Now you're in D.C. right now, right?
Yeah, actually in D.C. I got to go into the White House today. And Gary, what I find very, I was talking to Secret Service, and they said that Biden would just walk out of the White House and just run into the fences. And they said that they pretty much had to babysit him his whole presidency. I mean, that says a lot right there. Always late. Always late.
What were you at the White House for today?
We were actually taking a tour. I was hoping to get a hold of the president, which we finally did, but it was later. So we're hoping that we'll be able to go in tomorrow.
And I noticed that you posted on Facebook. You took a Tesla out to Washington D.C. Whose Tesla was that?
One of my great friends, J.R. Majewski, who ran for Congress in Ohio and was endorsed by President Trump.
Right on. Are you with JR now?
Yeah, JR. Well, he ended up going to bed. So
he went to
bed. I'm with JR. Yeah, I know.
Oh man,
that's what I said. I know. That's what I said. But
I was hoping you guys would both be able to join us.
I know. My dad's here though.
Oh, let's see your dad.
Yeah, come on in, Dad. Yeah, I'll talk him into it. He's getting ready to come on.
All right,
come on, Dad. It's Gary Franchi.
So I know that the White House hosted what they called a summer soiree today. Was that why you guys were here?
Yeah, that's why we're here. There was some kind of scheduling conflict because President Trump was talking to the Chinese president or something like that today, I believe.
Yeah, he was on a call with Putin for like 75 minutes today.
Wow. Yeah, so I think that's the reason why it got canceled. But there's a young man right here. President Trump paid for all of his chemotherapy, and we're blessed. But didn't the Secret Service say that Biden would get lost all the time? They had to babysit him.
Yeah, he said whenever he walked up, I went directly up to the Secret Service and asked him myself. And he told me that he said that he would often walk out of the White House and walk right into the damn fence.
Come on.
And he was always getting lost. He's late for everything he went to. He says it was long hours.
He said it was the longest 4 years he ever had.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the Secret Service actually revealed that to you. That's really odd.
Yes.
That they would be that.
Yep. He was standing out. He was standing out on the guarding one of the gateways is going in.
Yeah, we pretty much talked about why we were there and our relationship with President Trump. And he's like, listen, I got to be honest. That guy would get lost, run into the fence, and it was the longest damn 4 years I ever had as a Secret Service agent.
He would walk into the fence. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I remember there was one video that we played a few times back during that administration, and it was one of those moments where the president, I believe, probably getting off of Marine One or something. Was because I've been there so many times now. I understand the layout and how the logistics of the area. So when the president leaves Marine One, he walks up the sidewalk and then enters into the Oval Office sometimes, or he enters in through the main entrance at the White House. So I think what Biden was doing that time is he was supposed to make a turn to go into the Oval Office entrance, but he just kept going.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
That's pretty
Remember
much
that?
Yeah, that's yeah.
I remember that Secret Service guy on the TV and that he went like this, and he just kept on walking. And finally somebody else, I think, stepped in and said, you got to turn left or right here.
Unreal. And it's with this auto pen gate, wonder what's going to happen there. All the whole auto pen.
Yeah, auto pen gate, that's huge. We've been tracking that here. And then, so I've been watching your posts on Facebook because I remember about a month ago, you're like, hey, who wants to go to the White House with me? And I'm like, oh, cool. What's this about? I couldn't make it. We got too much going on here. So, but I saw your Facebook post. Looks like you got a good group of people that went down there with you.
Yeah, well, actually, we're going to have a big group on the 18th. I want to take people who actually did it for, of course, the right reasons. As you know, Gary, I'm a loyal guy, and a lot of people put a lot of time into this, and I want to take all my friends and give them that experience because they deserve it the most.
Well, there's nothing that's more exciting than being able to go to the White House and just be in the seat of power where history is made and just to be part of it. And look what you've done, Gary. That's one thing I truly revere about you is
is you always did it for the right reasons. You did it for America. You did it for your country. And I always say you're like the original, you know, like the first edition Charizard. You know what I mean? Gary is the man, first edition. You know, that's why I always call him the first edition. But no, I really respect everything you do, Gary, and everything you've done for my family. I can't ever thank you enough for it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, you were in the movie, and your father was in the film. The Man You Don't Know. You've got a book out that people can purchase. Do you have a copy of the book around by chance?
Oh, I don't. We're in actually the second phase of revising the book. So,
okay, and tell people about the book real quick.
Yeah, it's A Man Misunderstood. Talks about my journey into the Oval Office. You know, my whole story is based on faith and showing that you can come from a village of 900 people and, you know, go to the Oval Office. Nothing's impossible to do. If you do it for God, do it for country, and never expecting anything in return, you could have the chance to go to the Oval Office. And that's what my book demonstrates, is showing that you can come from a small town and make it in Washington, D.C. and become friends with the most powerful man in the world.
And you essentially had like you were just a volunteer during the first Trump campaign, and like tirelessly out there just pounding the pavement for President Trump, and eventually you got to meet him. The president paid for your father's cancer therapy. Like, can you give us a little bit of the backstory to some of that?
You want me to tell that?
Yeah, do you want to tell the backstory, Dad?
Yeah, I'll tell it.
Yeah, first I'll just say this. Yeah, Dad, if you want to get in here and say something. I know he had something to say.
Hey, Gary.
Howdy, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. We were sitting at the kitchen table after all this happened, and I told my wife, I said, we haven't got a bill from that place yet. And I went to a very good cancer hospital up by Chicago. And a lot of people don't know it, but President Trump, he wanted me to go to MD Anderson. He said, all your flights are paid. Everything's paid. I want to give you the best care possible. And I said, sir, I understand you're a billionaire and I respect that. I said, but where I'm going now is good and I don't want to waste any of your money. And never once did I tell him where I went. He never asked and I never said. Well, I was sitting at the kitchen table and asked my wife, I said, you know, we haven't even got a bill from the hospital yet. And I said, what should I do? Should I call him, let it go, or just wait to get this big thick envelope in the mail, you know, a couple 100,000 or whatever it's going to be? Well, when I finally picked up the phone and called him, you got to give a password and everything to your account and everything for HIPAA laws and all that. And she kind of stopped for a minute. She cleared her throat and she came back on the phone. There's probably about a 30-second delay or so. And she goes, your bills has been paid. And I said, how is that? I haven't even got a bill yet. So I know I haven't paid it. And she goes, she stopped a minute, got quiet. She goes, do you know a Donald J. Trump? And I said, yes. Wow. She says, your bills has been paid. So I asked her, I said, can I ask how much that bill was? And she said it was $242,000. I was up there for a week straight of doing nothing but testing. Then I had eight or 10 rounds of chemo. And that every Friday I had to take the Amtrak up there to Chicago, and they picked me up at Union Station and took me out there to the hospital and all that stuff. So yeah, that's his heart.
Wow.
And I told Shane from the day one, I said, one of these days I want to sit down with him and look him in the eye, shake his hand and say, thanks for saving my life. And I got that opportunity. What was supposed to turn out to be a 10 or 20 minute meeting ended up lasting 2 hours. Well, I talked to General Kelly in the Oval Office, Hope Hicks, Kellyanne Conway, and all of them, you know, they treated us like family.
Wow.
Yeah, President Trump goes, this is your Oval Office.
Yep.
This ain't my Oval Office. This is your Oval Office. And I said, wow, that says something. Wow. But it all started, Gary, from I was front page of the Washington Post.
Over $200,000 bill. You're expecting this in the mail, never shows up. You call the hospital, and the operator's like, "Do you know Donald J. Trump?" I mean,
Yes.
I could only imagine her, like, as she's looking it up, like, she must have been shocked. Like, and then, like, to be able to deliver that news to you. I mean, when you heard her say that, what was your immediate emotional reaction? Like, what happened at that very second?
Well, about what it's happening now, because every time I talk about it, I get a little teary eyed, and because I've never asked anybody for anything in my life, and I've worked hard my whole life, and I was expecting to pay for that over the next 200 years or whatever, But when she first told me that, I was sitting at the table, with my phone stretched out in my hands and everything. I just dropped the phone, and I started crying. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Amazing.
Grown man crying. And every time I'll even hear Shane in the living room to this day, listening to the tape over and over again about how President Trump on the inauguration of 2016, he calls me before the inauguration, and I just had chemo and back surgery, just walked from my living room to the kitchen, hobbling with a cane, and my phone rang. And I thought, son of a gun, man. And I knew who it was because each one of them's got a different ringtone. I knew it was Shane. I knew he was out there, and I picked up the phone. I hurry up, got back in there as fast as I could, and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" And he goes, "Dad, you ain't ever going to believe who I'm sitting here with." It didn't even cross my mind it was President Trump. I was naming baseball players, country singers. He goes, "President-elect Donald J. Trump." And Trump got on the phone, and the first thing he told me was, "You have a great son here."
Wow.
And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." So
Beautiful.
That's it.
Beautiful. Amazing story. I'm really glad you could share that with our viewers tonight. It's amazing.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you, Gary, for letting us tell our story. It means a lot. It means a lot.
I remember covering it years and years ago when it happened, right here on this channel, and it hit me real hard, because I lost my mother to cancer, so I know, the destruction it can cause, just inside of a family when you lose someone so close, and the fact that President Trump stepped up and made it possible for you guys, for Shane to keep his father, and not to succumb to something so horrible, and then to pay the bill for it on top of it all. I mean, that just shows you, man.
Yeah,
just shows you.
That's what people don't understand. That whenever I tell them, I'm like, they'll have something bad to say about him, and I'm like, you don't even really know him. Oh yeah, we see what's going on. We tell by his attitude on TV. No, you don't, because if there's anybody that loves this country, it's that man. He loves America, and he loves American citizens.
Well, what's interesting too, is that, first of all, you said, I don't want you to pay. I don't want you to spend your money in helping me or whatever. You're very clear about it, and you didn't tell him where your treatment was going to be.
Right.
I mean, so he actually had to do the legwork. I'm sure he, contacted one of his people to track it down and figure out exactly where it was all taking place. I mean, it's not like he was able to just, pick up the phone and make the payment. He had to do the legwork and the homework to figure it out.
Right.
So, I mean, that there was work involved to make it happen.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is true. I never really thought of it like that. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have never once told him where I was getting treated at. He wanted me to go to MD Anderson.
He was determined. He was 100% determined to pay that bill for you.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's something I'll never never be able to repay.
Well,
So you
Gary,
guys are
I also got to tell your
ahead.
followers, give you credit because you're the only one that would actually air this story. Fox News wouldn't give it much attention. Of course, CNN wouldn't give it any attention. But one guy who stepped up to the plate that really told the story how it should be is Gary Franchi. And I just want to tell your viewers, I'm blessed and humbled for that. And thank you, Gary, for what you've done for me and my dad. I can't ever thank you enough, but it means a lot to us. It really does.
And we're blessed to have your friendship.
Yeah, most importantly, we're blessed with that.
No, and
Gary,
yeah.
I remember. I'm sorry, but I remember meeting you for the first time up in a friend's house up in a suburb of Chicago when you first told me, and you had tears in your eyes when you were telling me about your mom.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, cancer's a horrible thing. And, Joe Biden said he was going to cure it. That never happened. And now you guys are at the White House. You have the Secret Service giving you guys some inside stories about the truth about the Biden administration. Karine Jean-Pierre is releasing her book. She's leaving the Democrat Party, trying to save face before the auto pen subpoenas start coming down. What's your take right now as far as, we're what, 17, 18, 19 weeks into the Trump presidency? You guys obviously MAGA all the way. What are your thoughts on where we're at in the country with President Trump back at the helm?
I think the biggest thing is he's doing great, but I'd like to see some of the costs coming down for the middle class people because it hasn't hit around where we live at yet. I mean, food and everything's, exploding.
Well, we live in Illinois, and as you know, it's
Yeah, you know how that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got pork chop up there.
Yeah. Jelly Belly. Pritzker.
Pritzker, yeah. In which they're trying to turn this into a communist state. What are they doing, Gary? They're setting up for illegal aliens wellness center or care center. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it's called, but I can't remember what it.
Well, hey, Gary, thanks for having me on. I'm going to step off of here and let Shane have time, and you two get reacquainted. Thanks for having me on, sir. And God bless you, buddy.
God bless you too. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Shane, you've been making the circuit lately. You've been doing some speaking. You've got your book. You're back at the White House. Tell me a little bit about what's next for Shane Bouvet. Clearly, I can see your star is rising higher and higher every day, and it's exciting to witness that. I mean, from being a volunteer for the Trump organization in 2016, to having President Trump personally affect your family, to being in the film A Man You Don't Know, to your book now, speaking engagements in the Republican circuit. What's next for Shane Bouvet?
Honestly, that's a great question, Gary. I often think about it more often than not. I really want to do a podcast. I want to. We look at these politicians like Abraham Lincoln, but we never really talk about the trials and errors and the failures that he's been through. I want to capture the human element of politicians, make it more entertaining, and you kind of inspired me, I want to do a podcast. I want to inspire, America like you have, Gary, that gives people a chance. And that's really what I want to do. A lot of my passions came from you, and your wife, and showing that what you do. I want to be the guy who bridges the gap and shows these politicians at a human level.
Well, it's not that difficult to start a podcast. I mean, I could, if you ever need any tips or advice or what kind of camera or microphone setup, it's really just about being true, being just real, and you could start it through on YouTube. You can do it on X. I mean, right now we're streaming live on Rumble. We're streaming live on X and as well as YouTube and even on LinkedIn and Instagram. So we're simulcasting across all platforms right now. So I'm more than happy to show you the ropes. And
I love that.
I'll tell you that it's not easy. I mean, we do this. We try to do this at least 5 nights a week. We collect all the news stories and we talk about the news stories. So it's really about trying to figure out like what is your angle. You said you want to make highlight the personal stories of different politicians. That's one thing. That's certainly an angle you could approach at.
Gary, today I want to also capture the whistleblowers. I feel like those are unsung heroes that actually had 2 whistleblowers today who were girls that went on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. So we're going to focus. It's going to be powerful. I'm going to make my first episode. I have a lot of these people from The Man You Don't Know, producers that are also willing to help me out on this. And like yourself, like I know I can come to you for advice. But I got 2 whistleblowers that literally, man, you talk about tears rolling out of your eyes, listening to these stories about these girls that literally went to Epstein's island. And, man, I tell you what, Gary, that's what I want to capture, whistleblowers. I feel like they deserve a platform where they can go on and tell the truth.
Where do you think you would record it or broadcast it from?
Well, I know there's a lot of podcasts, they do it inside. I want to have like a couch in the middle of a cornfield and, and different scenery where we have like every time I'm in the middle of the woods or I'm in the middle of a cornfield.
That's really unique.
Looks like we lost him.
Oh, did we lose? I think we lost him.
Sorry, Gary, I don't know what happened. I apologize. But yeah, different sceneries, different cornfields, and things like that.
I think turn your camera on. The camera shut off. There you are.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, you know what? What about this? Okay, here's an idea. Get a nice pickup truck, or a truck with like a flatbed, and then put a couch.
Hello?
And like,
Gary, can you hear me?
Can you? I can hear you. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
Should be able to.
Shane, can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh man, did we lose connection?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the volume. I don't know. Sorry, Gary. No.
I can hear you just fine. Now you're muted. Yeah, drop him. Let him come back. Let me see. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me? It's okay.
But pretty much what I want to do is different cornfields, different scenery, have a podcast that's outside. As you know, our vice president's kind of hillbilly ideology. I don't know. He's a hillbilly himself, and I really, kind of am a hillbilly, kind of. So, I want to bring that out.
What I was going to say is before we had the technical difficulties, imagine getting like a flatbed pickup truck or like just a truck that has a nice big flatbed.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then you put a couch, like a big couch and like a lazy boy, put it on there, and then you could drive that around to different locations.
Yeah, that's smart.
You can record that way. You don't have to keep like moving the furniture. You're just moving the vehicle around.
Yeah, that's smart. Actually, that's great.
Yeah, and then you could just set up your camera and you could run the battery off a generator somewhere or just record from a camera. I mean, there's so many different ways you can do it, man.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. I actually really like that, Gary. Thank you for mentioning that. That's a lot easier. That is a lot easier than moving that couch.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. You'd just be driving around with a freaking couch on the back and just showing up anywhere. You could do it in a parking lot, in a cornfield, an old drive-in theater. Like, how cool would that look? Like if you were sitting in the middle of an old drive-in theater,
Yeah, actually, I like that. That's what I want to do. Actually, you get my vision, Gary. You get my vision.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Shane, I thank you for chiming in tonight. And when are you coming back?
I'll be back the 18th in Washington. Are you going to be here on the 18th, Gary? Or
No. I'm still waiting for my friggin' real ID to get processed. But I might be going to the NATO summit. I'm still waiting to find out if I have access to get there, because I know that Trump is, I believe, going to the NATO summit in the Netherlands. So that would be fun.
Oh, well. Yeah,
so
that
we'll
would
see
be
what
fun.
happens there.
All right, Gary. First, I want to say thank you for having me on, and tell your wife I said hi, and thank her as well. You know, you guys have been great. I love you both, and thank you for having me on.
All right, Shane. Good to see you.
Good seeing you, brother.
All right. Okay, guys, that was Shane Bouvet. Wasn't planning on having a guest this evening, but he had texted me, and he was with J.R. Majewski, and I was like, dude, we should have them show up, you know, and then he did. So anyway, that was just a little impromptu thing. Now you guys hear the real story about the real Donald Trump. Okay, so there was a super chat that came in. Let me see if I press that P3. Let's see, P3, and we're going to put $5 in the jar. All right. $5 in the super chat jar. That was from Tom B 420. And then also we have from Resto Guy, $10. And he says, new people in the chat, welcome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Tom B 420. And we have a new member who has just joined us. Richard Gagnon has just become a member, so welcome to the family. All right. Want to check in with the big chat. All right, where are we at here? Thank God Kenny's getting restful sleep. 07 Shane, don't give up. Thank you, Shane. Thank you to your dad. I'm very happy for both of you. That's Vicky. Kenny must be worn out. His sleeping pain must have calmed down for him. Let's see. Thanks, Shane, says Angel Lawrence. Scott's Thoughts channel. Great to meet you, Shane. Texas Confederate says, I'm a welder. I build trailers and pickup truck flatbeds for a living. Texas Confederate dropping that note. Yeah, pretty cool. I thought that was an interesting way to do the podcast. If you get just a flatbed, throw a couch on the back. You know, you could have all your mounts for your cameras and everything. That would be super cool. And you could be totally mobile. Let's see what else. Gary and Guy's WX2 put 100-watt PV solar panels on the roof of the truck. Interesting. Well, I want to tell you guys something. Let me see if I can bring it up here. If there's something on, it's called the, let me see, the backpack we just purchased. I gotta find the link to it. Let's see here. Coalax backpack. All right, let's see if I can bring this up here. All right. So I just purchased this. It's called the Lancer 300 Power Backpack. And I got the combo, which has dual magic arms on the side of it. Let's see if I can bring up a better picture. Yeah, look at that thing. This thing has solar panels, and you can attach a light, and you can attach a camera. It has a massive battery. It has a charging station, hands-free magic arm, modular design, exoskeleton, and I just got a message from my Washington D.C. cameraman about. So we sent this backpack to him in D.C. and he just got Starlink. So I didn't ask him to get Starlink. I guess he just got it. So I told him, I said, well, what if you hooked up your Starlink to this backpack and then created a network and then ran your, zoom out. No, that was weird. Take your camera into the White House press room and then go live using Starlink in this backpack. I thought that was a cool idea. So we're going to try and do that in the next couple of weeks. And he told me, let's see, he just messaged me. Let's see here. He messaged me. Okay, so he's been doing some tests. He says, I ran the Starlink in the car for 4 hours with that battery from the backpack. Absolutely no hiccups. And when they arrived, they had 22% left on the battery and only used 5 gigabytes of data. He said, we were editing and uploading video, taking calls, etc. Very impressive battery and internet. I said, so you ran the battery for 4 hours and it still had 22% left? He says, that's right. Laptop plugged in for a good hour plus too. It's a beast. He said, I want to see if it could handle a lengthy Starlink session, and it totally can. So I painted a picture for him. I said, well, imagine if you mounted the Starlink to one of those arms and then you had your camera plugged in directly, and then you're literally walking around like with your Starlink and your camera going live. So this is all the stuff that we're working on in the behind the scenes. Super cool stuff. All right, where are we at now? Just want to check in if there's anything I need to. Getting some messages here. Okay, so were there any more super chats to talk about here? Let's see here, super chats. Angel Lawrence just became a member. Squeeze-a-lot just dropped $10 into the super chat. Alex Jones was right, Jar. A fungal threat is super dangerous. Also, what did the mysterious balloons drop into our country? Great question. Great question. All right, let's see here. Thank you for that, Squeeze-a-lot, sincerely. Okay, you know me, I've got more work to do. My work is never done, so I do have to close out the show tonight. But what a show we've had. You know, what we witnessed tonight isn't just news, it's a complete unraveling of their house of lies. 3 stories and 1 devastating truth. The establishment will sacrifice anything and anyone to maintain power. Chuck Schumer literally screamed, we're all going to die because Trump wants to let you keep your own money and stop giving free health care to criminals who invaded our country. The big, beautiful bill terrifies them because prosperity destroys dependency. When Americans thrive, Democrats lose power. It's that simple. The Chinese agroterrorism plot reveals how our enemies evolve their warfare. They're not coming with armies, they're coming with microscopes. That fungus wasn't meant for some lab experiment. It was designed to devastate our wheat, poison our corn, and trigger famine that would bring America to its knees. 1 vial released in a farm could accomplish what thousands of missiles couldn't. And Karine Jean-Pierre, well, she's the perfect symbol of this rotten system. A professional liar abandoning the lies when they're no longer profitable. And we just got a super chat. Okay, let's see. Super chat. And Rusty Boot Knife dropping $20 into the Alex Jones was right jar. Thank you, sir. And what did you say? Oh, no, just $20. Thank you. All right. We'll take it. Thank you very much. So, Karine Jean-Pierre, abandoning lies when they're no longer profitable. And for 3 years, she told you Biden was sharp while he couldn't remember where he was. Now she wants to sell you a book about following her moral compass. The same compass that pointed straight to deception every single day. Now, these aren't separate stories. They are the same story. Democrats fighting to fund illegals over citizens. China targeting our food while buying our farmland. Biden's press secretary fleeing before the investigators begin. It's coordination, not coincidence. But here's what they didn't count on. You. Every super chat, every Rumble rant, every comment you've shared tonight sends a message that we're awake, we're angry, and we're not backing down. So to everyone who supported the show tonight with your donations and energy, you are the real heroes in this information war. And tell a friend about the Raw feed, text them the link, share it on social media, and bypass their algorithms with human connections. Every new viewer is another patriot awakened, another voice for truth in the darkness. Make sure you check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and wear your support proudly. From shirts that trigger snowflakes to mugs that make meetings meaningful, every purchase funds independent journalism that terrifies the establishment. And you know what also terrifies the establishment? SR Best, who just donated $2 into the Alex Jones Was Right jar. We will put that money right where it belongs. Now, to those who may be confused, this is not actual money. This is prop money. Let's see if I can show you a close-up. Because with this new camera, we have the ability to... let's see if I can zoom in even closer. Can you see that? What it says? It says motion picture purposes. Oh, Brian, disable the up lock. You have the vertical lock off. It won't go up. There we go. And we have a new camera that tracks everything that we have in the studio. How cool is that, right? So no matter where I move it, it tracks. Yeah, we're having too much fun, right? All right. Okay, so wait, Squeeze a Lot dropping $5. All right, we'll keep going. You guys want to keep me around, right? All right. Squeeze a Lot putting $5 in the jar. He says many ticks and other bugs that can carry diseases and fungi, kind of like bed bugs, a disease vector for Chagas disease from the Mexican kissing bug. What? I don't even know what all that means, but it sounds terrifying. All right, so $62 today, 2 new members, and a little shorter show. But I'm under the weather. I know Todd's under the weather. I've got some stuff I got to take care of tomorrow. The week's not over yet. We're not going anywhere, but the parallels to history are clear. On this day in 1989, tanks rolled through Tiananmen Square to crush freedom. Today, they use fungus instead of tanks and lies instead of bullets, but the goal remains the same, total control. But what is the difference? The difference is we're not students with flowers facing tanks. We're Americans with truth facing tyrants. So thank you for joining the Raw feed tonight, and thank you for standing with us. Thank you for refusing to surrender to their lies. Tomorrow we will be back with more explosive revelations they don't want you to see. Until then, I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network, reminding you to stay strong, stay informed, and to stay free. We'll see you next time.